So we'll start with the screen capture first that we added. So where is the screenshot? Let's see. Where is it? Oh, okay. I didn't really take it properly, I guess. So this is the screenshot. You have to name it as screenshot.png, and it needs to be minimum 1200 by 900. That should be the width and height of this screenshot, and it needs to go into the root directory. So once you add that, then you'll notice that when you were managing theme, currently it's showing empty, but now if you refresh, you can see that now it's showing the screenshot. It's not showing proper because the width and height is not proper, so make sure that you change that screenshot.png to 1200 by 900, and could you please put on a headset, please. Let's see what else is remaining. So we are done with this. We are done with the custom header menu. I'm just gonna make it this red. Okay, you need the footer menu as well, I guess. Menu items, home, about, excitable, appearance menu. So register to custom anywhere, Ollie's header menu, Ollie's footer menu. Okay, do we have anything in the footer? Let's see. No, we don't. So we don't need to register the footer menu actually. So let's get rid of this footer. User should be able to click the search bar and it should open in a pop-up. When the user enters this search, it should take the user to the search page that will list all the blocks search result. So now we need to create a search form. You can see that this search is opening over here, right? So in WordPress, we have an ability to add a search form by just adding a function. So what we're gonna do is go to project wiki, and let's go to search. Here it is. So can I edit it? Edit node, yeah. So this is the search form. So this is gonna get me the search form basically, and where do we want it? We want the search form to be available inside this whole screen, right? So for us to create that, have you connected the headset, please? Okay. So we'll go to includes, actually template paths, and it's not inside of the home, it's actually a part of header and footer. So I'll name it as search, and I'll put it as search form, and then inside of this template we have to put the search form. So I just have to call get search form, and it's going to get me the search form. So let's go back and check. Go back. I have to include this file, that's why it's not showing yet. So where do I want it? I want it in the menu, right? So where is my menu? This is secondary menu. This is the primary menu. This is where I need to have it. So I'm just going to put that here. So it'll be get template part, and it's inside of search directory, and the name is search form. If I refresh, Still I'm not getting it. Why? What's the path? Oh, I'm putting header here, sorry. It should be just search form. There you go. Now you can see that we've got the search form available. Of course it doesn't look like the design, but at least we can search it. Like if I search hello, so you can see that it's searching hello. You can see on is doing query string s equals hello, which means search equals hello. So what we need to do basically is let's go back. First I need to get back to my menu. Currently it's not showing my actual menu. So appearance, menus. Oh, okay, it didn't create the menu to create it. So header, menu. I'm just gonna add one page right now to this and just select header menu over here and just refresh. Oops. Yep, there you go. So we got the header menu, and now we need to remove all of this search and search for. How can we do that? Adds additional search form arguments, helps different type of content. Search form for placeholder text equals false. Now you can get this additional argument, search form .php. Okay, so we'll have to hide all of that programmatically, like this search button and all of that stuff, but we can create we can hide it for now, but this needs to be full screen and full width, so we have to add a CSS to it. So let's go to assets, npm run dev, and while this is running I'll go to assets, source, scss, components, search, actually I don't even need to create a directory. I can just do search.scss, and of course I have to include it, so I'll just do search. That's it. Here's where I can write the styles. So what do I need to do? So the best thing I'm going to do is basically just try to style it in the browser itself, right? So let's go here. It's better to wrap this inside of a div so I can style it properly and it doesn't get applied to everything. So what I'm going to do is I'll say div, and then inside of this get search form function is going to show that search box, and I'm going to give it a class saying header search form. So I got this, and now if you check, you've got header search form, as you can see, and inside of this WordPress has already inserted the form. So this function is basically responsible for creating this form automatically. Okay, so now we need to style it. So what I'm going to do is I'll copy this class name. In fact, let me do it here. So this needs to take the full height of the page and full width of the page. And remember, I spoke to you about that if you want to give full height, you'll do height 100 VH. I explained that yesterday, right? And you have to give it a background also so it's visible. You can see that. And then the width should also be 100%. So 100 VH will be the width. Sorry, 100%, I guess. It's already 100%. Why? Because our div is already a display block, so it's already 100%. I have to give 100%. But it's not really covering the entire screen. The reason for this is because it's sitting inside of this container. In order for this to go outside, you need to give it a position absolute. And now width, you have to give it a width. Why? Because it's now floating and just taking the width of whatever content is inside of it. So it will be 100 VW. So now it's taking the full one. And you anytime you give something a position, you have to give it top 0, left 0, Okay, yep. And let's give it a padding. Not padding, actually, you need to bring that into center, right? See, if you click on this, it goes in the center. So you have to keep it in the center. So how do we do that? So see what they're doing. So they're giving Z index, display, flex, and then align item center and all of that stuff. Let's give it. Yep, now it's in the center. And color will be yellow, I think. Okay, so basically we got something, right? I'm going to arrange it properly, so width, height goes together, display properties go together, position goes top. Just organizing in my code properly, so anything related to position comes together, anything related to display comes together, anything related to width and height comes together. So for width is VW, for height it's VH. And then you put the background, and the color of the background is, sorry, the color is actually different, so we need to make sure we use the same color. Yeah, it's yellow, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that. Make sure you're using color variable, because then you can change it at one place. So now you can see that it's gotten over here, but when I scroll it, it's kind of scrolling. I don't want that, right? So how do I fix that? So if you give it position fixed, it's going to stick to it. It's not going to move. So now if you see, it's still moving. Why is it moving now? I think the reason why it's moving is because the body behind this is moving. First of all, we are having the same problem as we had yesterday, which is I'm seeing, in the behind, I'm seeing all of the content. So remember how we solved this yesterday? We gave it a Z index, right? So Z index means, think of it in a 3D format. Something needs to sit on top of that. So if I want this to sit on top of that, I'm going to give it a Z index of 1, and now you can see it's gone, right? Cool. So we got the search form, but we really want is that there should be a close button here. So in order for you to give it a close button, in fact there should be a container, div header search form wrap, and then paste it here like so. And then if you save it, still works, I guess. Yep. And over here you need to have a cross button, so it'll be button. They should already have something over here. I'm just going to use that. So here is their button. What are they using? Okay, they're using a span tag over here. Okay, I'm just going to use that. So search form close btn. That's a class name I gave. Oops, not this one. And I need to give this a color basically. So color equals white. Where is it? I can't see it. How do I search it fast? The way to search it fast is copy the class name and paste it here. So it's sitting somewhere here. Can you see? Here it is. And I gave it a color. So why the heck is not showing? Well, probably because now you need to give this a wrap actually. The wrap, the main thing. Wrap is your main thing. So wrap needs to stick, I guess. Yeah. Now it's there. Okay. Now this needs to come over here. So I think we can fix this by position absolute. So we could, yeah, fix the absolutely. So for that, what we need to do is we need to have another wrapper, I guess. which can deal with it. Search button form wrap. Okay. Now this can be, because it's a wrap now this can be position absolute, this one. Yeah, right 0, top 0. Top 0 is not going to work because I'm going to log out first so I can see what's happening. So this will be position relative, button will be position absolute, top 0, right 0. So you go back and check, where did it go? Here it is. Yeah, did I give position absolute? Yeah, I give position relative to this. Yeah, so looks like I have to do something else. I have to give this a 100% height, 100%. But this needs to sit. What if I move the button outside? What would happen in that case? Yeah, it solved the problem. Right. So I gave it a color, but it also has a background. So that's up to you to fix those issues. I mean, you can do just like background color transparent. That should solve the problem, you can see. And you can remove the outline and stuff, but for now all I'll do is just increase the font size to 24 pixels. And yeah, there you go. I'll give it some padding also. So padding 24 pixels, refresh. Oops, not padding, actually margin. Padding will be there, but should be something like 16 and 16 pixels and 18 pixels, I guess, and then margin 24 pixels. There you go. Now it's slightly better. I think the top and bottom padding needs to reduce. I'll make it 8 pixels. Let's try that. Yep, looks much better. Let's try to match it with the design. So looks like they don't have border and outline, so I'm just going to style it here itself. Outline none, border none. Yep, no border and no outline. Okay, I think I should increase the font size more. It's not enough. 36. Yeah, much better. Can you see how we are trying to match this what they have built, right? And how we are able to basically bring all of this the way it is built. So the next thing we want to do is basically create this kind of a UI. For that, I'm going to do it here itself. So this is the input field. I don't want the border first of all, so border is going to be none. I want the background to be transparent, so now you can see there's no background. I want that there should be a border bottom, 1 pixel solid, and then yellow, because it's a yellow color border, right? I also need to increase the width 300 pixels. So you can see that it's increased now. I have to check what is their width that they are actually using and what is the color they are using. So I can see that they already have got all this styles, but you can see how they're actually doing it. So I'll just use it. You can see. I mean, it's not like I've done any rocket science here, but this is something again they're doing as well, right? Just give me 1 second. That one. So yeah, so all I'm gonna do is just take this whole thing. Although I could have done it myself, but I could do it. You can do it as well. So this doesn't have a class just yet. I'm going to paste this over here right now, and then I'm going to take this header search form, which is this, and then I'm going to do, how many inputs are there? Well, there's type equals text. So if you want to, if I do just input, is going to add the style on both. I don't want that, so I want to do type equals, what is the type? Type equals text. So if you want to target something by the type, because it doesn't have a class name, right? So you can target it like this, and then I'm just going to copy the whole thing and paste it here. Not going to worry about the background image for now. I'll just leave that for now, and then I'm going to give it a yellow color because I already have a variable which I can use. And it's always advisable to use the color variables, because then you can change it at one place. There you go. So you got basically the search. There is an outline here. I don't want that, so I want to give an outline of none. Okay, now you can see that's gone, and I can still type it. What it doesn't have is a placeholder text, right? So what you can do is you can check if this particular function gives you any opportunity to pass the placeholder text. You can see that it takes an argument. An argument is a type array. So what's available inside of these arguments? I think the place you can search here, or you can also check in the arguments. There's echo, there is area label, search form arguments. Yeah, so looks like I'm not able to find information how I can add placeholder text. So what I'll do is add placeholder text WordPress search form. So I got this first link, and they are adding a filter over here which allows us to add the placeholder search. It doesn't look like it's proper. Let's go for another one. These are adding their own search form. I don't want that. This is the one. Using get search form, how can I add placeholder to text to search box? Do you think this is very close to what we are trying to look for? Yeah, we already have the get search form function, right? What we are not able to do is that edit the placeholder text. So let's see what people are doing. Everybody is creating their own function for the form. I can do it, but I don't want to. Hold on. Why? Is there a way to do it? Search page creates a WordPress. Okay. Search form, add custom form. If you don't have search form on the page, okay. Okay. Everybody is saying create your custom one. They're not. Get search form optional, echo area label. Everybody's saying create your own search form. I guess we'll have to then. We don't have a choice. Okay, so what you need to do is, if you want to customize what this function is going to output, all you have to do is just create a file inside of the root directory and name it as searchform.php. Okay, so name it as searchform.php. Okay, the next thing you do is basically just copy this and then oops, it's an HTML, right? Okay, and then just paste it here. Then I'm going to check how WordPress was creating the search form and try to replicate it. So we got the form, which is correct. We got the class. No, we don't have the class. So let me just copy this whole thing. Oops. And replace it. Action will be root URL, which will be this. Search form ID, all of that stuff is good. They also have a div inside of it, so let me add that one. What I'm doing is I'm trying to see what WordPress is outputted, and I'm trying to replicate that and only change those things that I really want to change. Okay, so I don't have the screen reader text over here, so let's add that class. In fact, I don't even need the label, right? They don't have label, do they? No, they don't. And then this is the input value search query. This is correct. Then they have a submit, but we don't need the submit button. We do need a submit button actually. Search input image template URL. I'm going to paste that here and then remove this. Let's see what happens now. Oh, there's no label. They're saying you need to have a label also, right? Can't have an input without a label. But we can hide it. So we'll worry about hiding it later. Let's just continue with this. Okay, so going back to our project, now you can see I still have it. I still have the submit button, but now I have more control over it. I can put a placeholder value. So where do I want to add the placeholder value? It's here. So I'll add placeholder. So what's the placeholder as per the design? It says search here. So can you see that they have a placeholder? Can you read this? Placeholder search here. So that's what I have to do. I have to put that here. If you, the moment you do that, is going to automatically add that option here. So if I refresh it, I guess it's not visible because the color of it is not proper. Hold on. It's still rendering the same one. Why? It's not rendering our form. Why is that now? Okay, you have to add this in the functions.php actually. Search form.php. Oh, my bad. The name of the file is incorrect. See, this is how things don't work. Things don't work because of my mistake. I went ahead and named it as searchform.php. However, the name is searchform.php, right? So as a developer, you need to solve these problems. You need to figure out what am I doing wrong, verify it, check it, read it. I'm able to do it faster because of experience. You may take more time, but with time you will progress. I'll refactor it. Now I'll go back and check again. Refresh. Yeah, there you go. Now it's working, right? It's all our content being shown over here. We don't need the label, so I'm just going to get rid of it, or just maybe hide it. I can add a class over here and name it as hide display none, or For screen reader text, I can add a specific class. So let me go here, Aquila, and I have a class available called screen reader text. Yep, this one, for accessibility, which means screen readers will still be able to read it. It's just that users can't see it. Screen readers, like when you try to access your website on Mac, so screen reader will know what this input is for, because imagine you can see it right visually, but people who are blind, they can't see it. So for them, they use that screen readers. If you hide it like this, then screen readers won't be able to read it. Okay, so you have to use the screen reader text, which basically kind of makes its width small and height small, like 1 pixel, but it's still there. It's just that user cannot see it because you have reduced the width and the height of that particular element, and kind of it's there, but you can't see it, to be honest. Border radius, let's leave that for now. I think border radius. Yeah, so this screen reader text accessibility should not go into the search.css, it should go in the general CSS, wherever you're putting general CSS. So what we're going to do is we'll go to assets, source, SCSS. Is there something called general anywhere? Settings. Yep, here it is. This is where you're going to add the screen reader, to be honest. And then all you have to do is just give this class to that element. So now if you go back, it already has that class. Can you see? It already has that class. WordPress already adds that class. So now you can see that this label is there, but it's not visible. Why is it not visible? Because its height and width is just like 1 by 1. You can't really, what is 1 pixel by 1 pixel is hardly to be seen, but it's there. Screen readers, when screen readers come to this, they will read as search for, so they will know what this is for actually. The next thing we're going to do is basically color this as yellow. There is a way to color a placeholder text. I think they might have already done that. So we are tutorcock, so we're just going to take the advantage of their CSS. So where is it? Type. Hover. Style a placeholder. Again, see how many times I have to Google, because I don't know, I don't remember. So that's the way to basically style the placeholders. So what I'm going to do is go back over here and then style the placeholder, but the color won't be red this time, it will actually be yellow. So this is for different browsers, like all the browsers don't support the same properties, so you have to use different properties for different browser, like Edge and Internet Explorer, and this is for Chrome and stuff. So now if you go back and check, close it, this is not ours, right? Ours is this one. Now you can see it's yellow, and that's exactly what we wanted, right? So that's that, and we got it almost like that. All we have to do is just put an image just before that. So in order for us to put an image, we have to do it on after. So do we have such images? Let me see. So they must have already added that somewhere. Let me see. Where is the image? Here it is, this one. Can you see? This is the image. If you go to open a new tab, it's not visible because it's white, but you can apply it. You can apply a background image. Where do you want to apply it? You want to apply it to this search form, and you need to put the full URL. It's not showing full URL over here, but you can get the full URL by opening a new tab, copy this whole thing and just paste it here. Ideally you should be saving it locally, but to save time I'm doing it right now like this. Close it, refresh, there you go, congratulations, search is done. Now you need to also hide this one. So again, you can do screen reader text on this to hide it. class. So you've created a class once, but you can now use it multiple times. That's gone. Did you see? We just created this whole setup right in front of you. Yeah. Now the next thing I want to do is basically add this function. This already works. This is already ready for us to use. Hello world. User can go there and they can search it. Now I'll take you to that search page. But we need to go ahead and add JavaScript to close it and all that stuff. So same thing we did yesterday, which was went ahead and applied the JavaScript. Same thing we have to do today as well. So go to JavaScript. Earlier it was menus. Now it's going to be search. So we'll create a directory called search. We'll create a file called index.js. And then what I'm going to do is basically do an inspect element, get hold of that particular element we want to use to close. So this is the element and it's called search form close button. Ideally you should be targeting elements JavaScript using the IDs. So I will rather add an ID for that. Where is my search? Here it is. So this is my button. You can give the same ID as the class, not a problem, but it has to be unique. On the entire page you should not have any other ID with the same name. So I got the ID, and yesterday we did query selector, today we'll do with the ID. So we'll say document dot get element by ID, and this is my ID. You don't have to put dot over here like we did yesterday because using this function, and I'm going to store that inside of a variable and call it as search close button, so camel casing. Okay, alright, so that's that. And then if you console log search close button, you'll notice that it's going to grab hold of that element. Of course it's not going to work because I have not included this file. As you must have observed over the past few days that every time we create a new file we have to include it, whether it's JavaScript, it's CSS, it's PHP. If it's PHP, you know where it goes, basically wherever you want to show it. I want to show it in header, so I included that in a header. If it's CSS, where does it need to go? It needs to go to the main.scss. If it's JavaScript, it needs to go to main.js. So it's the same rule every single time. So going back to the main.js, we'll just import. You with me? Okay. Search. And now if I refresh and if you do a console, you'll check this is the button. Can you see what's happening here? Notice what happens here. So see, it's targeting that element, right? So all I have to do is do the same thing which we did yesterday. What did we do yesterday? We went ahead and added a click event, right? Like this. Same thing we have to do today as well. So we're not doing any rocket science here. Let's say first we'll check if it exists or not, because we don't want to add an event on that if the element doesn't exist. What could be the scenario when it doesn't exist? Maybe you've deleted that element, you've deleted that file. I don't want JavaScript to go crazy looking for that element if you've deleted it, right? So we'll first check if it exists. Search close button dot add event listener, same thing which we did yesterday. Click. I'm going to put an arrow function here, and then what do I want to do at this point? Same thing what we did yesterday, which was check if search close button dot class list dot contains, does it contain a class called open? If it is, then close it. In fact, I just want to close it when you want to click this button, so I don't need to check anything, to be honest. So search close button dot class list dot remove. What class I want to remove? Open. Okay. So I want to basically remove this class, and I'm going to go to SCSS components. Where's my search? Here it is. So I want to show this form only when the button is clicked. Sorry, only if it has the class called open. So where is my main container? My main container is basically this header search form row. This is the main container which is holding everything, the button and the form itself. So what I'll do is inside of this I'm going to say and means use the same class, and then dot Yeah, open. So if this has a class called open, then go ahead and show it. Display flex. Otherwise, it should be display none, right? And but I remember they are using some animation, right? So let's go with the animation. See? Can you see? Oops. Using some kind of animation, it comes really smooth. So let's use the animation instead of just hiding it. Let's find out what they're using. It should ideally be opacity as far as I know. See, it's opacity actually. So they are doing, if it's open, see they're doing the same thing. Our class is different, but they're just applying dot open. So if it's open, then the opacity it should be visible and opacity should be 1. You already know what opacity means, right? If a glass is 100% opaque, which means it's 100, you can see it through. But if it's not 100% opaque, then it's partial. Okay. So opacity is 1. Otherwise, the visibility should be hidden, I think. Let me see what they're doing. If I remove it, can you see it? Visibility becomes hidden and opacity becomes 0. So let's do that. And then they're also adding transition. So transition is the one responsible for getting that smooth effect. Remember we did that yesterday also when we were doing this one, right? If I don't use this transition, it's not going to do smooth. It's going to be like tuck, very ugly, to be honest. So that's why I put transition over here, and all we are doing is, if it's not open, hide it. Make opacity 0. Don't show it. And transition also. Otherwise, show it. Okay. So that's that. And so what we want to do is basically apply that class to this. So we don't want to apply the class to the button, but to this. So we have to grab hold of that element. So again, like I said, it's better to target these things with ID. So I'm going to just do an ID here. And then, not that you can't target with class, but it's better to do with ID. So this is the ID we're going to use. And I'm going to go back, get the search form equals document. Come on, keep saying it. Get element by ID. What do I put here? The ID name. Okay. And then all I want to do is just remove that open class from this. Okay. And yeah, when you click on close. Now, if I go back and refresh, you'll notice that it's gone. Can you see? Why is it gone? Because I said that if it doesn't have a class open, make the opacity to 0. But the job is half done because we also need this button, remember? So they already must have created this button. I'm just going to use that, to be honest. So this is the image they're using. Again, they're using Bootstrap, I guess. So I'm just going to open it. They're using an image basically. I'll go back. So where do I want to? So I'll ask my question. Where do I want to include it? Of course, this is the header. So I want to put it in the header. So I'll go back to my header. I already have these things, right? I also want to put a search button. Where should I put it? I think it should be close to this, right? So I can put this into this container. So I can say image and source should be, you already got the source. And then alt will be search icon. And then, oops. Width, height, let's give it 50. Height 50. Okay, so go back, refresh. There you go. It's too big. We do have to style it for sure. So I think I'm gonna just wrap it inside of a container, I guess. It's better that way. Oops. And I'll just give it a class of search button icon. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, it's much better. But I have to give it a style. So do an inspect element here. Go back. Okay, so see, this is costing us really bad because you give it a width. See, it's causing issue. So first we need to fix this. You can't give everything, all images a width. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to your code and fix that. So where is your header? Here is your header. Remove this, anything you're not using. It can never be 0 pixel, it's just 0 whenever it's 0. You don't need to add pixel for that. Where is your image? Where is your 5 rem coming from? Let me see, main.css. It's at the media query, I believe. I think this is the one. I guess what you wanted to do was you wanted to give it to the social icon or something, right? Sorry, to the main icon. I'm going to remove it and you can handle it later. So if I do that now you can see it's proper size, which is great. Next thing, I need to give it some kind of a margin because it's too close. I don't want that. So I'll go back and check. I hope you're able to understand everything we're doing here, right? Cool. So I'll grab hold of this particular icon container and I'm going to, by the way, this needs to be in the common because it's a general thing. It's not just related to the search. So where is my general? Common, general. Yeah, I'll put that here. And I'll give it a heading just so that it looks a little neater. Placeholder. Okay, so that's taken care of, and then I'm just going to give this a margin right of, let's say, 24 pixels. Let's try that. Yep, much better. Okay, so if you got the button now, basically, ideally I should be calling it a button and not div because it's actually a button, right? So this button. Now I have to remove this outline and stuff. It's not looking good. For accessibility, it should be more semantic because it's a button to click. So I'll say outline none, background transparent, border none. There you go. So that's how you remove the default styling by the browser. So these are all styling applied by the browser. And as you can see, it's showing as a mouse, but ideally it should be a pointer, right? It's a button. How would the user know it's a button? So you can do cursor pointer. Refresh. Can you see now this thing has come? This pointer. So user knows that. Can you see this icon or no? Yeah, like hand is coming over there. So now I'm going to give it an ID also because like I said, you should ideally target by JavaScript to IDs rather than classes. So I'll give it the same one. And then I'll go back to my JavaScript and I'm going to say search open button. It's an open button, right? It's open button. So document dot get element, wherever you think what it should be, speak out, so that way I will tell you if you're going wrong somewhere. Okay, like for example, I'm just repeating myself, so you could say something like, while I'm doing it, you could say you put get element by ID. Yeah, so that way that thing will start getting in your head, will start getting familiarizing yourself. Okay, so we got the open button, we got the close button. So basically we want to add another if condition. Like if search open button, then search open button dot add event listener. Click arrow functions, and then I'm gonna say if search form dot class list dot contains open. If it has open class, then remove it, else add it. Same thing we did yesterday for the menu also, right? If it had the class, add it. Sorry, if it had the class, remove it. If it doesn't have the class, then add it. If else condition. Now if we refresh, now we click, oops, sorry, something is not right here, hold on. I got 9 errors. Let's see, what's the problem? Okay, I click it. Is the class being added? Let's see. Where is the, yeah, this is search form, okay. Yeah, it is getting, something is happening. Yeah, open, close, yeah, it's getting added, yep. So it is getting added, but nothing is happening. Visibility is becoming visible. Something is wrong somewhere. Why is the form not showing? Why is the form not showing? Oh, I put display none, my bad. I remember I put, we were doing display none earlier, then we thought of not using display none because we have to use visibility instead. So now if you go back and check, perfect, congratulations, there you go. Can you see? We just created search option in WordPress and it's so smooth. I just have to add the pointer because you can see that it's not a pointer. So let's change that to a pointer. Close button, cursor, pointer, simple as that. By the way, you can add images also to those cursors. What just happened? Yeah, there you go. Perfect. So we're good for today? Yeah. So you learned today how to do CSS, how to do JavaScript, how to add search form, how to customize the default search form by creating your own search form.php, right? Yeah. Don't get confused with that search dash form and search form. Okay, these are different. This is your component. This is your main WordPress search form that you customize because then you can do whatever you want here. So go ahead and write the blog. I'm expecting both the blogs to be published tomorrow. I hope that's not too much to ask. Awesome. So let me just push the code. I'm gonna stop